and welcome to a live edition of Cooking with Michael. Tonight's edition, again live, we are going to do Maryland crab cakes. I'm so excited about this, primarily because our first live event a couple weeks ago was such a huge success. And I really, really want to thank everyone who logged on, tuned in, and even watched the replays afterwards of that live event. I'm so excited, and I'm excited to do this one too tonight. Tonight, we're going to be doing Maryland crab cakes. An easy recipe, easy dish, great for a date night, great to spend time with your loved one, your spouse, your significant other, whoever you're spending your date night with. Now, first things first. Again, want to thank everyone who watched the first live episode. We had people from all over the country tune in, which was fantastic, and I really, really want to thank you all. And I'm hoping to see all of you tuning in tonight, or if watching the replay, if you were unable to tune in tonight. But we're going to get ready to go ahead and do our crab cakes tonight. First things first, our wine. Now, if you've watched my episodes before, you know it's always about the Pinot Grigio. Tonight I decided to do something a little different. I did a Sauvignon Blanc. Well, let's be honest. The reason why I did Sauvignon Blanc is because my wine guy was out of Pinot Grigio. So I have to take what I can get. By the way, my cat is, of course, here in the background watching as well. But I have my wine, so we'll get started. Take my sip. And we're good to go. Okay, to make crab cakes, very simple. We use crab meat, we use parsley, we use Old Bay, we use breadcrumbs, mayonnaise, an egg, and some dry mustard. Now, let me take a step back first about the crab. There is a debate of whether or not you use fresh crab versus frozen crab. I'll be honest, I've done it both ways. Either way is fine, as long as you're not using crab that's been frozen for 3 years. But fresh crab meat, frozen crab meat is fine. There's also a debate whether or not you want to use lump crab meat versus claw crab meat. Most recipes for crab cakes call for the lump crab meat. I, however, use the claw. And the reason why I use the claw is because, to me, it's a sweeter taste. It helps make the crab cake stay together a little bit better. And it's just a better tasting crab cake, in my opinion. Some would rather use the lump. That's fine. To me, and the recipe we're going to do, we're using the claw meat. So to start off with, there's your claw meat, okay? So as you can see, I've already taken the liberty of putting it in the bowl, okay? And before I go any further, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my baking sheet ready, because once I'm done mixing, I'm going to put it right onto the baking sheet. And I'm also going to preheat my oven. You want to use the broiler. If you've watched my episodes before, we're always on baking or roasting or whatnot. We're going to use the broiler for this one because you want to broil the crab cakes. It takes 5 to 8 minutes, and we'll talk about that a little bit. But I'm going to go ahead and turn the boiler on high and hit start. And while it's heating up, I'm going to leave the door closed, okay? And then I'm going to get the cookie sheet ready to put my crab cakes on. Honestly, again, if you've watched before, I always use olive oil for just about everything. This time, I'm going to use just a regular old spray oil, okay? This is actually an Aldi brand spray, non-flavored, and you're going to find I'm going to talk about a lot of different things tonight about flavors and what you should flavor, what you shouldn't. Use a non-flavored because, again, you don't want this to overpower anything you're doing with the crab cake. So I'm just going to evenly coat. And I'm going to go ahead and turn the camera down just a little. There we go. And I'm going to evenly coat the pan. Okay. And that's it. And we're done with that. Okay. So next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn my iPad back on, which has my recipe on it. And some of the things about being live, you have to, can't edit out that kind of stuff. But all right, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to begin to put the ingredients in. First things first, again, breadcrumbs. Always use plain breadcrumbs. What I've talked about before, I've talked about many times. You don't want to overpower any of the dish with other things that aren't involved in the recipe. If you use seasoned breadcrumbs, the issue with that is that seasoning will overpower some of the crab. and it's also seasoning that's not supposed to be in a crab meat. So it's going to very much affect the way the crab cake tastes. So you must use plain breadcrumbs. Very simple. So for the plain breadcrumbs, we're going to use 1.5 tablespoons. Also, if you've watched any of my episodes, you've noticed that I tend to not be able to find my measuring stuff. Tonight, I got them. So I'm good to go on this. So what we're going to do is we're going to do 1.5 tablespoons of breadcrumbs. So first things first, I'm going to go in there and put basically 1 there. Okay. And I'm going to grab my 1/2 tablespoon, because again, 1.5 tablespoons of breadcrumbs. And I'm going to put the 1/2 in there. And we're good. And that's all the breadcrumbs that goes in there. Again, you got to remember, it's all about this and the different seasonings and whatnot we're putting into this and not overpowering it. You got to remember, this is a symphony, not a solo. You want the tastes to meld together. You want the tastes to really come together and complement each other. If you have one thing overpowering something else, that's really going to hurt your whole dish. In this, the crab is going to be the primary taste, but you're going to have some of the other tastes as well. So we're going to move on to the next ingredient, parsley. Now, you can do 2 things. You can use fresh parsley, or you can use the parsley flakes. I tend to use the parsley flakes primarily for 2 reasons. 1, it's easier. Again, everything I do here is about ease of use, ease of making, so you can spend more time with your loved one, your date night. But the other part of it is the fresh. I don't use enough parsley in my cooking in order to really allow me to get a big bunch of parsley and then chop it all up. So I'm going to use the parsley flakes. 2 teaspoons of fresh chopped parsley flakes. So I take my teaspoon measure, and you know what? Even if it's a little bit mounded, that's fine too. So we're just going to put 1, 2. Okay, so put that in there. Next thing we're going to do, an egg. Real simple, just 1 egg, regular old egg. You can use brown egg, white egg, I don't care, just an egg. So just like that, break the egg, put it in there, and you're good to go. I'm going to grab my towel here, wipe off my hands a little bit. Now I'm going to use mayonnaise. Now please do not use Miracle Whip. Now, if the Miracle Whip people want to sue me for saying that, that's fine. But Miracle Whip tastes awful. And the whole idea is to make sure that you are lumping it together and getting the taste that you want. You're not really going to taste the mayonnaise per se. The mayonnaise really is going to help hold it all together. But Miracle Whip doesn't add anything to it. Okay, so I'm going to use mayonnaise. I don't care what brand you use. I'm using a generic Aldi brand. I don't care. It doesn't matter if you use any other brands out there, but mayonnaise, as long as it's real mayonnaise. So now we're going to take, and we're going to do 1.5 tablespoons of mayonnaise. So I'm going to take my tablespoon. I'm not a big fan of mayonnaise, by the way, so I use it because it's really helpful for this, but I don't use mayonnaise in a lot of other things. Okay, so I got my 1, and I'm going to just take that. I'm now done with the measuring, and I'm going to take my 1/2 tablespoon, and I'm going to get another 1/2, and you can see just like that, and I'm going to just put it in there, and we're all good. Okay. Now, next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use ground mustard powder. I don't use the regular mustard that you put on your hot dogs and whatnot. Again, symphony, not a solo. That mustard that you get to put on your hot dogs and your hamburgers and whatnot tends to overpower. Okay? Don't want to do that. This gives a nice flavor. You can taste it, but it's not going to overpower. And it also isn't going to make it too wet either. So we use the mustard powder. And what we're going to do is we're going to use just a 1/2 teaspoon. Okay? So I'm going to take my 1/2 teaspoon, and I'm going to put that in. And you can see, put it in there. And that's it for that. And put that in the sink. Done with that. Last ingredient I'm going to use, and if you're from Maryland, this is a must. I'm going to use Old Bay. Okay? Must use Old Bay. Don't use a generic Old Bay. Go get the real Old Bay. Now, for this, to start off with, I'm just going to basically lightly over top, just enough to cover the top while I'm doing it, okay? Again, I said before, symphony, not a solo. Your whole idea is that you want to get enough in there to taste it, but you don't want to overpower any of it. Now, what we're going to do from there is we're going to mix it up. Do not use a utensil. You will shred the crab. Crab is flaky as it is, and the potential of damaging it sounds kind of weird, damaging crab, but you want to get big crab meat pieces in your crab cakes. That's what really makes it great. If you use a utensil, you're going to take a chance of damaging that. So I'm just going to use my hands. I know it seems kind of gross, but you're going to use your hands. And keep in mind, you're with your date night, so they probably have seen you use your hands for other things. Is that too far? Nah, I don't care. So anyway, so what I'm going to do is I am going to go ahead and just mix this up just until it is fully mixed. I'm going to lower the camera just a little bit, just until it's fully mixed. You can see I'm not really trying to damage the crab cake or crab meat at all. Just mixing it up until it is completely mixed, and you want to try and just move it around, do everything you're supposed to do to get it nice and mixed through. Okay, so I'm going to keep this up. It's going to seem wet and moist and what have you, and that's fine. The breadcrumbs in this are not meant to dry it out. The breadcrumbs with the mayonnaise are really there to hold this all together. Okay, so now we're just about nicely mixed. Okay, so I'm going to show you. It looks like that. Okay, it's a nice mixture of crab. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it out in small crab balls. Those of you who are watching and laughing, stop. I'm going to take it to crab balls, and I'm going to take it out, and I'm going to put it on, just put it right onto the greased cookie sheet. And then what I want to do is I want to make sure it stays together, but I want to flatten it down. And the reason why I'm flattening it down is twofold. One, it's a crab cake. It should look like a cake. But two, you also want to flatten it down because you don't want to unevenly cook this. It's going to be in a broiler. And if it's too much in the center and real thin on the sides will burn and the center won't cook. And vice versa. If it's real thin in the center and high on the ends, same kind of thing. So you want to try and make it as even as possible. So we're going to do this for all of the crab cakes. And really, this mixture should make 5 to 6 crab cakes. Okay, and you can see I'm just pushing it down. Okay, it should make 5 to 6 crab cakes, which is perfect for a date night dinner. You won't really have any left over, which is good because leftover crab cakes are not always the best. So that's 3, 4. Try to get the crab off my hands too again. I know it seems kind of gross, but it's going to cook. And again, with whoever you're with, it's probably seen you use your hands on other things while you're cooking. So this one actually made 5 instead of 6. So it means my wife will probably be screwed out of eating one. Now I'll give her 3 and I'll eat 2. That's fine. So get them nice and flat. Get the rest of the crab out of there. And I just want to go through the bowl one last time. Get as much crab in as you can and put it, add to the other crab cakes that are on there. Okay. Now I'm going to do is I'm going to take this. I'm going to put this in the sink. And bear with me a second. I'm just going to rinse off the crab meat from my hands. Kind of wash my hands a little bit, primarily because it's kind of gross. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get ready to put them in the oven. But before I do that, because again, this will only take 5 to 8 minutes tops. Okay. Before I do that, I'm going to get ready for the side dish. Tonight, I'm going to do fresh asparagus. I've already taken the liberty of getting fresh asparagus, washing it and cutting it, okay? And I'm going to take this, my steamer, and I'm going to go ahead and turn on the oven to get the steamer going. Okay, so I'll turn that on high. It won't take very long for that steamer to cook or to start to boil, by the way, and steam. So while that's doing that, and while I'm waiting for that, I'm going to take the crab cakes, I'm going to open up my oven, and I'm going to stick them in. Now, because I'm broiling them, I'm going to leave the oven open just a little bit. There's all kinds of things all over the internet about, do you really need to leave it open? Do you not need it open? That kind of thing. I have to be honest with you. I don't care. I leave it open because that's how I was taught. So that's what I'm going to do. Now, again, I told you it takes 5 to 8 minutes. You don't want to walk away from the crab cakes. The reason being is they will cook quickly, and if you walk away, you will forget about them, and they will burn. You want them to be golden brown on top, okay? Kind of like a sugar cookie or a pizza crust, something like that. Golden means done. Burnt is burnt, okay? So if you stay here and you watch, it'll be a lot easier for it to be done, okay? Now, as I'm looking at my steamer is starting to steam, so I'm going to take my asparagus, and I'm going to go ahead and put it in my steamer, and that takes about the same amount of time as the crab cakes. So this is what we're going to do. So now we have to, and this is the one downside about live, is now we're kind of in a waiting period for the next 5-6 minutes. I actually had someone say to me, and there goes my cat, had someone say to me, you should tell jokes during that 5-8 minutes. Now, I could, but I'm not going to. Anyway, I'm going to check my crab cakes again. They're not ready yet. But while I'm doing that, I'm going to pull the Old Bay back. And the reason why is because when they are done, you're going to sprinkle a little bit of Old Bay right back on top of them. Again, not a lot. We've said this before. It's a symphony, not a solo. So Old Bay for taste. Again, this is Maryland. And let me give you a little backstory. So again, those of you who have watched my show, I'm originally from Pittsburgh. So to be honest with you, I never had a crab cake until I moved to Maryland about 14 and a half years ago. I know you're all laughing going, never had a crab cake? Never had a crab cake. Honestly, never really had crabs either until I moved here. When I moved here, had crab cakes, fell in love with it. Loved them. So then I wanted to learn how to make them. So I began to look at different recipes, whatnot, and I began to put my own recipe together. The reason being is everything you see here is my own recipes, things that I like to do, things that I think make everything taste well. So, all right, so I'm going to look at the crab cakes. Still not there. So, and at this point, like I said, you're kind of in a holding pattern waiting for. So while you're in a holding pattern, this is where the wine comes in. You can have a sip of wine or a glass of wine. I probably wouldn't have a bottle of wine while you're waiting because then you might not notice the fact that they're burning. So, and for those of you who are posting burnt is burnt, yes, burnt is burnt. Couldn't think of a better way to say it. So, have my wine. I'm just taking a look at those of you who are logging on. I see I've got people walking on from California. So thank you for those of you in California. I got a couple of you in Florida, of course in Maryland. I've got a couple in Pennsylvania. So I'm really excited to see all of you jumping in and taking a chance in watching this. And of course, while this is finishing up, again, please, if you like this, please share it with friends, family, what have you. The more we do this, the more we can. If you heard that, that was my cookie sheet kind of jumping around in there. Again, you never know what's going to happen on a live episode. But share it with your friends and family. The more subscribers I get, the more viewers I get, the more I can do this, and the more I can come up with different meal ideas for that perfect date night. Because again, that's what this is all about, that perfect date night. Having that loved one, we can have some good food, inexpensive, quick, easy, done. And in this case, you're going to see it really exactly how long it takes. And we're probably going to come in right about 26, 27 minutes total. And that's a great amount of time to make dinner. And then you still have hours to go for that perfect date night. So I take a look at the crab cake. It is actually starting to brown just a little bit. So it's coming along. We're excited about that. This is coming along as well. So, and I don't set the timer, by the way, because I know in other episodes I've done, I've set the timer. I don't set the timer because it's really about sight at this point. You're really just trying to see when it turns that golden brown. And that's really what it's all about, is making sure it looks good. Because if it's golden brown, the crab is cooked enough, the food is cooked, you're good to go. So let me take a look at this. Not quite done yet. So I'm going to have a little bit more wine. Hoping you are enjoying this so far. Let me know what you think, and feel free to text and write in and say that you're enjoying it or that you're not, or maybe give me some ideas of what you might want to see me do next. Next week's episode will be a video upload, not a live episode. But we will do more live episodes because I really enjoy doing it, and it's a lot of fun to do these live episodes. So again, I'm watching as more people joining in and whatnot. So I'm really excited to see that. So let me take this. Let me take a look at the crab cakes. Not yet. Coming along pretty well. We're now probably about 2.5, 3 minutes into it. So got just a couple more minutes before we should start to see the crab cake coming together and being done, which is great. And then once it's done, I'll show you what it tastes like. I know you're gonna be like, how are you gonna show me what it tastes like? Because this is one that's going to be tasted live on television as opposed to just showing you, because it's really that good. Okay, so you can see the steam is coming out. The asparagus is closing in on being done. The crab cakes are also closing in on being done, so we're almost there. I hope you all have enjoyed this so far. And this, I found out the last time I did this that it took about an hour after the live episode was over for it to fully upload. So when it's fully uploaded, feel free to watch it again. Feel free to share the links. Like I said, I would really appreciate that. We're really trying to build this channel and get more and more people to really get involved and watch. And it's only going to be helpful to us to continue to do things as we go on. So take a little more wine. By the way, the asparagus is done when it's a bright green. As I said, asparagus takes, again, about 5 to 8 minutes also, but it also depends on the thickness of the asparagus. The thicker the asparagus, the little longer it takes. Of course, the thinner, the less time it takes. So this is a little bit thicker, so it's going to take a little bit longer, but you can see to the top of the steamer, when it gets to a nice bright green hue, a nice bright green color, it's done, okay? You don't want to overcook it because you don't want soggy. You still want it to be crisp, but you want it to be steamed all the way through. So looking at the crab cakes, we're almost done with the crab cakes, so it's almost time to come out of the oven. Can't wait. I'm so excited about this. Looking at the asparagus, it's also almost done. So we have about probably about another minute or two to kill, and then we can go on to the next one. So, or I can show you what it looks like. Again, if you have ideas of things that you'd like me to make, let me know. I'd be more than happy to tackle it. If I don't do a great job, I don't do a great job. But you know what? It's always fun. If you have ideas for date night dinners that you've done, let me know. I'd be more than happy. But we've got a whole variety of recipes coming down the pike. So I do look forward to a lot of episodes down the road. So again, thank you all for watching. Let's take a look and see where we're at. Looking at the asparagus, not quite done yet. The crab cake, I would say less than a minute to go. So we're almost there. And again, those of you who are watching, thank you so much. I'm going to check my phone is dinging. So, yeah. And by the way, the person who texted me, yeah, some of us do like crab cakes. Stop making fun of me. And you know who you are. Anyway, so yeah, so here we're getting ready here. I'm going to go ahead and pull this out. Okay. I'm going to pull this out of the oven or the broiler. Okay. And you can see it is a nice golden brown. I'm going to take the Old Bay, just a light sprinkle on top. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and turn off my steamer as well. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my crab cake. There's my crab cake. I'm going to take out one of the asparagus. Once I can get it there. You can hear my dog in the background too. And this is what it looks like. Nice golden brown crab cake. A nice asparagus. There's more in there, of course. And let me just taste it for you. Take a bite. Should still be a little flaky, but have a little bit of a crust on top, which is perfect. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is Date Night Crab Cakes. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something. I hope you'll actually make it. And again, please, 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 if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do so. If you know others who would love to learn some things, please do that as well. Share it, get it out there, get my name out there, get the channel out there, and let's get more subscribers, and let's have a lot more fun together. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a great date night with your partner, your spouse, your loved one, whoever you're doing your date night with. I really appreciate it. I hope you enjoy the food and have a great, great evening. And I will see you next week. We will have an uploaded video next week, not live. We will be live again. Not sure when, probably in a couple of weeks, but at least for now, next week will be a video upload, and we'll be uploading a new video every Saturday. So thank you again for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. And I hope you, let me turn this up a second. There we go. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you love it. And I look forward to seeing you again next time. Have a great evening and have a great, great date night. Thanks so much for watching. Good night, everyone.